If the Nintendo Switch 2 has backwards compatibility, and I mean easy backwards compatibility, some games I would love to play again on the Nintendo Switch 2 with a performance bump, by the way, are Nintendo Switch games like The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Odyssey is another one, Dragon Quest Builders 1 and 2, and other Nintendo Switch games that could use an upgrade or would be better with an upgrade. Performance-wise, that is. What Nintendo Switch games would you play first via backwards compatibility on the Nintendo Switch 2? So the Nintendo Switch 2 is one of the most exciting things for me personally when it comes to Nintendo and their brand. I mean, aside from the new Nintendo Switch games that are already announced too, like Metroid Prime 4, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, and other Nintendo Switch games, I'm pretty excited to see that new Nintendo Switch hardware. But there's always been something that I've always been wondering about the new Nintendo Switch hardware, and that's the power of this thing. I mean, how powerful is this gonna be? Is it gonna be like the PS4 Pro? Is it gonna be like the PS4? Is it gonna be like the Xbox? Or more specifically, the Xbox One. What about any other features that will make new Nintendo Switch games look better? It's been long rumored that DLSS is going to be part of this Nintendo Switch 2. And then a while back there were 4K rumors, and there's just so much surrounding this. It is very interesting to see as we get closer and closer to the end of the original Nintendo Switch's lifetime, in some way, shape, and form. I think Nintendo is still going to support that original Switch and the Switch 2. We see more details from Nintendo insiders coming out. And that's exactly what's been happening today. So this article is from WCCF Tech, and this is what they had to say about the information. Nintendo Switch 2 performance dock comparable to PS4 Pro, handheld image and quality, and battery better than the Steam Deck. So the title of this article is right off the bat eye-catching. Now you would think I would be pretty excited that the performance while in dock mode is comparable to the PlayStation 4 Pro, but I'm actually more interested in the battery life compared to the Steam Deck. I mean, how long is that gonna be? How much better is it from the Steam Deck to the Nintendo Switch 2, and so on? Let's continue reading the article and see. Nintendo Switch 2's performance in dock mode will likely be comparable to the performance of the PlayStation Pro. At least that's what reputable tech YouTuber Moore's Law is Dead claims in his latest video, in which he confirms that the Switch successor will indeed use the rumored Samsung A&M process node, with likely 12 gigabytes of memory. So this is something I'm actually really happy to hear if it does end up being true. Remember, these could always be fake. That's always the deal with these kind of things. But that part specifically, the 12 gigabytes of memory, is something I'm really hoping is true, because there was another rumor saying that it was gonna be 10. And in my opinion, I think that extra 2 gigabytes of memory is gonna go a long way on the Nintendo Switch, and you know what? More is always better, in my opinion anyways. But continuing with the article. In the video, the YouTuber talks about how there's a misunderstanding about Nintendo not caring about performance. Actually, they do, but the company has a certain performance goal it wants to hit for its console cycle, and if it does, Nintendo is satisfied. Some days ago, we reported that it's likely that the chip inside the Nintendo Switch 2 will hardly match the performance of the Xbox Series S. In the video, the YouTuber appears to support that claim, although it actually may come close to Microsoft's entry-level console, except frame rates are expected to be lower. When comparing the rumored performance of the Switch 2 based on the likely specs of the platform, the performance of the Switch successor in docked mode will likely be comparable to that of the PlayStation 4 Pro. So yeah, I think that's completely fine when it comes to the power of the Nintendo Switch 2, assuming that this does come true. I mean, when you look at games that run on the PlayStation 4 Pro and even the base PlayStation 4 like Horizon Zero Dawn, or any of the Uncharted games or God of War, these big, expansive games that do look fantastic. I mean, take a look at this footage right here. This is the PS4 version of Horizon Forbidden West. This looks fantastic. Imagine having that on dock mode on the Nintendo Switch for, let's say, the next Zelda game. Or, fingers crossed, maybe a Star Fox Adventure game. I mean, that would be pretty cool if it was like also part classic Star Fox, you know, spaceship combat, but also they have you going on different planets and having a really cool combat system. Just think about all the possibilities that they could do with this power when it comes to Nintendo games specifically. A lot of games on the Switch do already look fantastic. Tears of the Kingdom is a great example, or Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So imagine what they could do with the power of a PS4 Pro. With that being said, let's continue with the article. On the CPU side, the YouTuber also makes comparison to Microsoft's Xbox One X from last gen. PS4 Pro is a good way to characterize docked Switch 2 performance. Moore's Law is dead rights. So again, that's really good for what Nintendo can do with their games. I think that's perfectly fine. Any more than that, and I think we definitely get up in cost as well. I think that's another thing we have to keep in mind is the money that this thing is going to cost. We don't want it to cost too much. I mean, at the very least, I don't want it to cost very much because let's be honest, things cost a lot of money nowadays. Things are not too good out there, so if we can get something around maybe $400, that'd be fantastic. Although for me, I might want to start putting a little bit of money away for that right now. Maybe skip on a game or two. Anyways, continuing. In another post under the video about docked performance, the YouTuber writes, PS4 Pro would be a better approximation, but the Xbox Series S isn't really that different besides the CPU due to its gimped memory system. Now, I think one thing we have to keep in mind also when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, if this information does end up being correct, is that some games probably won't hit the Nintendo Switch 2. It's either that or at the very least, we're going to see a lot of repeat that we saw on the original Nintendo Switch where games would look a lot worse than their other console counterparts. I don't know why I said counterparts like that, but you guys get my point. But I think that definitely is the sacrifice you have when you have a portable console. I mean, the Steam Deck definitely doesn't look like the PC games, and sometimes it doesn't look like the PS5 and Xbox Series X games. So there is always going to be that trade-off when you're putting it in such a small handheld. Now, Moore's Law is Dead does talk about the performance of the Nintendo Switch 2 handheld mode as well. And this is what WCCF Tech has to say about that. As for Switch 2 handheld performance, the YouTuber says image quality with light ray tracing and battery life of Nintendo's platform will likely be better than the Steam Deck, albeit with somewhat lower performance than Valve's platform. So I think that is something that I was already expecting. We know that Nintendo likes to keep costs down, and one way to keep costs down is to make it a little less powerful than the ones that cost more. With that being said, this does make me wonder how much this does cost, because it is rumored that it isn't gonna be OLED, which would be another way to keep costs down, initially anyways. I would not see why Nintendo wouldn't do an OLED version later down the line. Now, the Steam Deck comes in three versions, a $399 version, a $549 version, and a $649 version. Those higher two price ones are OLED versions. So if it's a little bit weaker than the Steam Deck, I think we might even get a $350 price tag. Or heck, maybe if we're really lucky, a $300 price tag. Which then makes you really wonder if Nintendo's gonna drop the price of the original Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch OLED, and the Nintendo Switch Lite. Because quite honestly, I think the sales for those would skyrocket if they actually went down pretty low, or even knocking off a good $50 off each one. It would definitely be interesting to see the sales of the original Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch Lite, and Nintendo Switch OLED if they did do a price drop. One thing I hope I don't see with the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 is that it's more than that $399 price tag, because then you're gonna have to wonder, okay, what are you doing, Nintendo? Why does this cost as much as the Steam Deck, but it's a lot weaker? Or not a lot weaker, but weaker in general. I say this because they do talk about the resolution of the screen. The Steam Deck is 1280 by 800. Now, it's to my understanding that when there's a smaller screen, you don't really notice that as much. Smaller screens with lower resolutions tend to look a lot crisper and sharper than, say, if you were playing that on a 4K TV or even a 1080p TV. With that being said, this is what WCCF Tech has on that topic. And by the way, this is a quote from the YouTuber as well. Even if they, Nintendo, cheap out on the clock speeds and cooling here, I would say that it's about 20 to 30% faster than the Steam Deck's GPU, but the CPU is a bit weaker for gaming. Moore's Law is Dead explains. So again, if the Steam Deck is doing 720p low at 40, I think this will do 720p high with light ray tracing at 30. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think it's good that the Nintendo Switch 2 could possibly have the power of the PlayStation 4 Pro in docked mode? Personally, I think that's great. I mean, I wasn't expecting, 4K, 120 FPS, something crazy like that. I mean, at that point, it's gonna get pretty expensive, right? Not only that, but the battery is also not gonna last as long in docked mode, so it does make a lot of sense. Whether it's gonna come true or not, I guess we'll see. We'll have to wait. Now, we do have some Nintendo Switch news to talk about as well. Right now, Nintendo is doing an online 14-day free trial membership for the Nintendo Switch online service to celebrate Mario Day. This is what Nintendo's website says. Play together and have fun this Mario Day with a free trial of Nintendo Switch Online. Challenge friends and family online, play classic games featuring Mario, and more, and for a limited time, you can make the fun last even longer with a 14-day trial. That's twice as long as usual. Head over to My Nintendo to claim your offer now. Act fast, offer ends 3/17. So if anyone wanted some extra days on the Nintendo Switch Online service, you can definitely try that out and then maybe reactivate your subscription, or maybe it'll save you some money. I mean, who doesn't like saving money nowadays, right? That's why I have GameFly, primarily just to save money and I can still try out some games. And moving on to some more news, it seems that WayForward has had a leak. If you guys haven't seen this yet, there are a lot of different games that leaked online. This is what Nintendo Life has to say about the whole situation. WayForward, the developer behind the likes of Shantae series and last year's Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, a game I still have to actually pick up and try out, maybe I'll get that from GameFly. Honestly, I completely forgot about that. Has apparently suffered a data leak, which has seen development prototypes and game backups posted online. Now, among these games that have leaked out are Shantae's Risky Revenge, DuckTales Remastered, Adventure Time, Hey Ice King. I gotta rewatch that show. That show's pretty good. But anyways, cartoons aside, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage? Which was the subtitle to the Adventure Time game, by the way. And there's also other Nintendo DS titles as well. And that is all the news, rumors, and leaks I have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed this video, leaving a like and sharing it would be much appreciated. And definitely leaving those comments as well helps too. I'm really curious on what people think of the power of this PS4 Pro Nintendo Switch 2. Because I know a lot of people have different expectations for the next Nintendo Switch console, and a lot of people have this idea in their head of what this console is going to be and what they want it to be. So make sure you guys tell me what you guys want the Nintendo Switch 2 to be in the comment section below. And if not, on your way out, make sure you subscribe for more videos and also have that notification bell on. And if you want to support the channel in any other way, there is my Patreon and Twitter account in the pinned comment if you're interested in those. Oh, and also have this donut if you're still sticking around for me rambling. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember, stay safe, stay charged, and have a good one.